Mr. James Scarlett. It's 2026 and we go again.
Mate, fucking great to hear your voice, see your face. Been weird having a break. We've actually sort of detoxed from each other, haven't we? There's been very few voice memos. It feels like there's a Gavin McAnally shaped hole in my life.
There was, you know what? It was weird because you get into it's a hamster wheel of life for everyone. Like, this isn't just about guys doing podcasts or festivals. Everyone just gets into the I don't know, taking your kids to football practice or fucking swimming or going to your job or whatever it is you do, and you're just into that and you think that's what next week's going to be like. So even when you were talking about taking a break, I was about like, I can still do that, the best albums, because it's just, that's the routine we're in. But it's amazing how quickly you detach yourself from when it's just grapes and cheese, grapes, cheese at opening presents. Because for me, not only was it Christmas, which was wonderful, then it was New Year, which was wonderful. It was my birthday on the 3rd of January as well, my 44th, no longer 43. I was trying to hold on to that for as long as possible. And
Gutted.
It becomes that blur, and the next thing you know, you kind of no idea where you are in the calendar. The idea of putting out a podcast would be quite terrifying. And even today, I was about like, oh fuck, I wish like James, Tom, and Shifty were in the room with me to pep me up and say, you've got this, mate.
Absolutely. I'm slightly. I feel like a level of nerves. It's weird having a couple of weeks off. So what? Talk us through a McAnally Christmas and New Year. What's it like in the McAnally house?
Well, Christmas, I know everyone gets a wee bit tired of these discussions by the time you're into the 7th or 8th of January, but Christmas was great. It was a lot of the same for us. We have all my family over. When Kelly's family can come up, we love to have them up as well, but they have their own relatives down there as well that are in like 75 miles away from Glasgow. So sometimes they make it up, sometimes they can't. This year they couldn't. Hopefully next year they can. Had Christmas dinner. I will tell you a wee bit about my ham when we get to the Loose Brews bit, because that was the most exciting bit of my day. And it was a great day. Played some games with the kids, built some Lego, done what families do. Had a lovely dinner. New Year, unusual. We usually have quite a quiet New Year. I'm not a big fan of New Year. I think I hate forced fun, and I feel like New Year's the best example of forced fun. Like going around and hugging your fucking racist aunt that you don't like, and saying, "Oh, I'm a happy New Year," when you really would rather be anywhere else. So Kelly and I have done a lot of just being in bed by 12. But this year, my brother booked a hotel sort of dinner dance thing. We went along to with the kids and my parents, and it was a right good laugh. It's one of those ones where it's just a bit more. No, you're there with strangers. It's not like everybody forced into one room for one time of the year just to get like shaking hands and eating fucking wee cocktail sticks. It was like, and there's something, I mean, I know that everyone outside Scotland hates the bagpipes. And maybe if I wasn't Scottish, I'd hate the bagpipes. But there's something very, very special about the bagpipes on Hogmanay and everyone getting to for Caledonia. I'm a sucker for it. I'm an absolute sucker for that at New Year. So had a great time. And then my birthday, I went and saw Celtic get beat again. It used to be the theme of this. And then Kelly took me out for a nice meal. So that was how my holidays, my festive period wrapped up. Had a brilliant time. Saturday was my birthday. I haven't touched a drink since, so I'm now 4 days clean. I am aiming for February. I need it. And I know that, like, I'm not, when I'm saying that now, only 4 days into it, I could not think about touching a drink. I am like so sickened by the thought of alcohol at the minute that I just need 4 weeks of clean eating, healthy living, at the gym every day, and hopefully get into February, like, boom, let's go again. How about yourself?
Mate, I'm disgusted with myself in that regard. Like I never want to see any nice food or certainly any alcohol ever again. I was just on the phone to Si and I was saying to him, if there was like a fly on the wall camera, you know when they do those fat programs where they've got a camera on people's fridges and they're like you think you're not eating but you are. If they had a camera on my alcohol cabinet, I think that someone would be doing an intervention. So my wife probably would be the one. So yeah, it's been. I had a really nice Christmas actually. We went to my parents' village for 4 days over Christmas and really nice time. I even saw Mr. Shifty in the pub on Christmas Day. I think I sent you a photo of me, Shifty, Barbara, my brother and my dad having some beers on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
It was really nice. But yeah, very much ate a lot, drank a lot, did the usual, a lot of Lego. It was fun. It was nice. After Christmas, me and Lizzie and Kit went to London and did proper touristy stuff. I went to see, this is all quite off-brand, I went to see Paddington the Musical. Fuck me. Fucking hell. It's not really for me. Lizzie thought it was amazing. Kit thought it was good, and I was like, oh, "Okay, that was quite a lot of money for that."
You know what? Sometimes you go to like the Disney Nice shows or Paddington the Musical, and it's not that you can't appreciate that it's all excellent. It's all done. The production's amazing. But you're just like, I mean, it's still two fuckers for Frozen, like swinging in the air. It's like, how impressed am I supposed to be?
Well, I mean, the Paddington story is so twee it hurts. So it's like you know, they're just telling the story of Paddington. It's fine. It was actually really well done because everything in the West End is well done. But let's not go any further on that. I went to the National History Museum, saw the big fucking whale skeleton, which is awesome, and did more eating and drinking. So yeah, pretty. I'm playing football tonight, and I feel like it's going to fucking hurt. And it's a punishment for all the fun.
And football's got a strange way because see, I mean, I can be fit. To the point I'm in the gym most days and then running in most days, so I've got my sort of heart and lungs back, the cardio back. You go back to that first game of football where it's like, mate, you've just come out of a wheelchair and then you're going straight back into one. You just gets those, I don't know, I take it's the twists and the turns and the short bursts of the wee bits of muscle that you don't use doing anything else but playing football or that type of sport. And you're just like, you're in bits for days. The DOMs will be painful, mate.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident that the lads I play with have had a similar Christmas to me, so we'll probably be okay.
I've got like walking football we start.
Yeah, exactly. So the only other thing I really did over Christmas is get into some more music documentaries, and I want to tell you about two of them quickly. The new Taylor Swift documentary, it's called "That's My Coffee Machine Turning Itself Off." Really professional, lovely. Sorry about that. The new Taylor Swift documentary is called "The End of an Era." And mate, honestly, I can't sing you her songs, but this documentary is fucking brilliant. Like, I don't know if you know, she did the Eras tour, and it kind of goes into how she conceived it and how they pulled it off. I mean, how do you pull off a tour on that scale? And it is absolutely mad. I'm like so impressed by her as a person that obviously she made the documentary, so who fucking knows who's in the background, but it feels like it was her idea. She drove it. She's like the fucking person that made it happen, and they nailed it. And like, she's just so normal and so massive. In fact, I've got a fact of the week for you. Didn't want to miss out a fact of the week. Did you know that she is the first musician to make the Forbes billionaire list based primarily on her songs and performances? So not like I've got a fashion Rihanna's in there for perfume and stuff, but Taylor Swift is primarily music related. She's a billionaire. She is the 21st richest self-made woman in America. And if you look at I looked today at the self-made women in America list, and it's all like business people, you know, fucking agriculture, steel, and like, I haven't heard of any of them. And then it's Taylor Swift. So she's fucking impressive. And the documentary is like, you see the backstage, which is so fascinating. Like, you see, you know, they put her in this cart and close the door, and she sits in it on her own so that they can wheel her into the staging area without any of the crowd at the side seeing her. You know, she's in massive stadiums. They can actually, some of the crowd can see into backstage. So they put her in this cart, and they've got like a camera in there with her, and you can hear the crowd just going fucking mad. And she's been pushed under the stage, and then they open the door, and she like rises up. You literally see it as she goes out to this just like 60,000 cap stadium, and I don't know, I liked it. I'm going to give it fucking 9 out of 10. I think the documentary, it's about 6 episodes, is brilliant. And the final thing I'll say is the best bit is she has guest stars every day, and they'll literally, so Ed Sheeran, Sabrina Carpenter, people like that, they'll come in the daytime to the stadium, they'll come into her dressing room, and she'll go, "Hey Ed, I was thinking this, right? you do this song of yours, and then we'll seek it into song of mine. Who's going to sing the harmony? Oh, you sing that harmony. I'll sing this harmony. You do the lead line. And then they play it once and they go, is that all good? Yeah, okay, cool. And then fucking bang, it cuts to the 50,000 cap stadium. And it's like, these people are such good musicians, such good, like, she's such a brilliant vocally. And so is Ed Sheeran, and so is Sabrina Carpenter, that they just go out there and fucking nail it. Mate, I'd be practicing for weeks and would be so nervous you wouldn't be able to touch the guitar. Anyway, look, I'm like Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift, everyone.
You're a Swiftie. Just fucking like. Do you like at this point? Do you like the music?
I haven't listened to the music. I only know. There's 2 or 3 really massive bangers that probably everyone listening here knows that you've heard in John Lewis or something. I don't even know where I heard them. But other than that, I'm unaware of the songs. I'm pretty ho hum about it. The show, the show. I'm gutted I didn't go to the tour. The show she put on was fucking amazing.
Unless you had if you could get tickets to a Oasis tour, you could get tickets to, try to get, my daughter was always trying to go, and it was a couple £100 per ticket if you could get your hands on it, and then up to like 400, 500, 600 if you're trying to get in the resale market. So for 2 people to go, it was like more than £1,000 if you're trying to get them off tout. So, she's just massive. She's just absolutely fucking another orbit massive.
But it's like, it made me realise that there's no rock band or metal band on the planet that give you a show anything like that. She's giving you sort of 6 shows in one. They keep changing the set and changing the style of dancing and changing the style of lighting and video screening. And someone like Metallica, it's pretty low. There's not much going on, is there? But even if you go to like a Rammstein or a Tool, it is absolutely nothing in terms of show compared to what you're getting from that. Maybe want to go and see a pop show.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, here you are, 2026. We are shitting all over the industry that built us, and we are now Swifties.
Okay, so to regain a tiny bit of credibility, I also finished watching the Beatles documentary, which was originally came out in 1995. It's called Anthology, but they've spruced it up and added an extra episode. But again, it's really fascinating to see how normal they are. How really they are so fucking normal, and the parallels with Taylor Swift are there in that being that famous must be fucking terrifying. When they were in the peak of Taylor is currently at her peak, and when the Beatles were in their peak, you can't do anything. You can't fucking get out the taxi without people jumping on your head. Like there is no privacy, and one of them, I think it was George Harrison, was saying like, I'm only on my own when I'm in my hotel room. It's fucking horrible. I hate it. You can't walk down the street anywhere. You can't go to a different country and sit on a beach at all. And it must be mad. Anyway, they're fucking geniuses, and I can't get enough of the Beatles in the last few years. So they're both on Disney, those documentaries, or you can get them on a knockoff Glasgow Fire Stick, no doubt, as well.
I'll ask my cousin if I can borrow his. You don't strike me as the kind of guy. I will definitely check out the Taylor Swift documentary, because my wife and daughter were raving about the last one, so that's an easy sell to the family. And you don't strike, well, the Beatles one we'll see. You don't strike me as a New Year's resolution type of guy, but did you make any?
Not really, other than I do the same every year, go super healthy in terms of food, exercise and alcohol. So no resolutions, more of the same.
I've always been I always think a New Year's resolution sticks better if it's something that's fun. You know what I mean? So like I had a New Year's resolution one year to like make 100 new recipes. Like I just get myself into the rut of just going down and always cooking up the same things I could do with my eyes shut. The pasta that I like, the plate of chili that I like, the fajitas I like. So 100 new recipes one year, which was a lot of fun. And by the end of the year, I had a bunch of whole new recipes. This year, my New Year's resolution was do not give dates for when you're going to announce things. I'm going to follow the James Scarlett one. Stop putting dates in, because once you do them, you get crucified. So in that vein, Monday night, we are going to announce some bands. So there's that New Year's resolution. It's fucked already. I'm like,
awesome.
Like people are now at me for left, right and centre for the start of January saying, right, we're in January, where's the bands for Damnation? I will give you everything we have on Monday. I believe that's the 12th. I believe that's the 12th of January. Probably like our usual time, 7 p.m. we go out with announcements. So that's what I'm aiming for. Everything we can get. I would still like a couple more of the big names. We have a couple. I would like a couple more. We have a lot of great bands. I would like a couple more just because you've been waiting for it. However, as James, I don't know if you've made any effort over the festive period to do any work with Trees or Art Tangent, but I knew that I had this 12 come up, so I did start early. The industry does not wake up from its slumber until yesterday was the first time I started getting replies from agents that weren't out of office, auto replies. And today is when a lot of the out of the office said we will be back by the 7th. So I'm hoping by today and tomorrow, people are going to be even that. You've got the agent back in his inbox or her inbox of 1,000 emails to catch up on. They still need to get the answers for the management and the bands that maybe will still be in a slumber. So this period's a weird one. It's there's not a lot going on. And if you can tackle it the way James has, it's better for your mental health because you get a proper break and you take a proper break at a time when you can't do anything anyway because you can throw all the money and the best offers at all the bands and you're still not going to reply until the 11th, 12th or 13th of January anyway. So you might as well just put your feet up. But I was conscious of the fact we never managed to get an announcement out when we wanted in December, and I am desperately trying to make sure this one goes. So on Monday, you will get what we can give you because you've been waiting.
Good. That's exciting, mate. That's exciting. Well, you're talking about resolutions. They say that every year you should do something that totally takes you out of your comfort zone. So in 2024, we started a podcast. And then in 2025, we did live shows, did a live tour. So and I do think these things it's quite a good fucking slap around the face to be like.
Are you lining this up perfectly because we're amazing co-hosts and you can mention the live tour, or is that just pure coincidental? It's fucking
yes, it's a great segue. Off you go, mate. Take it away.
Like he's just going to line up this We Lost the Sea tour like a season pro. Like we've just sat here and discussed that, and in 2026 to take us out of our comfort zone, national promoters for the aforementioned We Lost the Sea, Overhead the Albatross, and the Obscure tour, which has sold incredibly from the start. I mean, I'm responsible solely for Glasgow and Manchester. Manchester, an upgrade may well be on the cards if that is possible. Either way, that venue is going to be absolutely rammed. Glasgow is shaping up to be absolutely rammed too. Ticket sales for the whole tour within the first week were fantastic. Let's keep that up. It's one of these ones that will creep up this quicker than you think because you get a lot of tours where you're hearing them and it's like August, September, October. This is May. We're already in January now. So it's one of the ones that only get announced very late relatively to what you would normally get in a tour. So it's, just around the corner is getting a wee bit over the top, but it's closer than you think. It's closer than I thought. And you're like, it's only in May and we'll be at the end of January before you know it. So grab the tickets either before they sell out or before you miss out and get along to those dates. There's 5 of them. They are all selling well. 3 incredible bands. All the tickets are listed on C Tickets. Get along. Aye, let's do it. I'm looking forward to it a lot.
Good. You booked your space on the tour bus?
I do need to speak, but again, it's over Christmas, nothing really gets done with anything. I do need to speak to the guys and see what the fuck the plan is for that. There's partly, that was a bravado ridden December, Gav, full of the beans. Now you've got healthy sober, Gav. You're like, mate, 5 days in a fucking tour bus is going to will definitely be the end of me. I managed with 2 days in a tour bus with maybe Sheol and Bosk, and I already felt like, and I was looking forward to the train home from Manchester. I don't know about 5 days, but we'll see. Let's have that chat, guys. Let's see if you can persuade me to join you for a party for 5 days.
Good. Well, before we move on, I just wanted to nod to the fact that the most successful and famous team in Scotland, football team, and the most successful and famous team in England both lost their managers on the same day this week. And I thought it would be remiss of me not to mention it. I'm not sure anyone needs me pretending I'm Roy Keane and giving you my insight. In fact, my only insight is give the job to fucking Roy Keane. Come on, everyone. That's what we want.
Go for it. Go for it. We get Martin O'Neill in. I feel like I honestly, you get some like nerve in sore spots for this podcast, and talking about football was definitely one of them. You get sometimes you get an episode that's 2.5 hours long, and if we spend 20 seconds talking about football, people go, "That was dog shit. I hated that. Why are you talking about football?" So moving on swiftly. What else you got?
Well, so the plan today is we're going to go through our top 10 albums of the year. By way of introduction, I'm going to talk a bit about a couple of EPs and some bigger albums that didn't make my list or I wasn't interested in. So short introduction, and then we'll smash over the heads. We don't know what each other's album of the year list is. We have no idea.
Is it possible? We do another? How can we be co-hosting a podcast and go to the same events and enjoy so much the same music, but we've got 10 separate albums, a completely separate list last year? There's no way that can happen again, surely.
I don't think any of my albums are on your list.
Yours are just that fucking weird. Because the thing is, like, go for it. Tell me. No,
I'm not. Well, do you know what? So last year, I look back at my notes for this episode from last year, and it was basically me saying, "Sorry, everyone, this list is really fucking up its own arse. It's very like Blood Incantation, Aranzi Pazuzu, left field heavy avant-garde stuff." And this year's the exact opposite. Sorry, everyone, this is the fucking year of the chorus. So most of my albums are fucking not up their own arse. So it's been a really different year, I think.
Okay. Well,
but look, like, I take it fucking seriously. You know this, right? Like,
yeah, absolutely. This is your defining moment of the podcast. It's like you talking about this episode for the whole fucking year leading up to it. So I'm a bit like, I finished this. I was telling the truth. I did have a top 10 in place much quicker than I did, but I finished my notes 2 minutes before we started this podcast. Before you came onto the screen, I finished my notes and printed them off 2 minutes before. So I made the mistake of having a top 10 in place, but having nothing to say about it, and then spending all last night, literally from after dinner, and then from waking up this morning to actually give myself something to say about it.
I mean, what's your process around this? How have you even got to that? I mean, are you just like, this is the fucking album, this feels like my album of the year, I'm going to go and listen to it. Yeah, that is my album of the year. Let's fucking go. Or,
hey, what other process can you have?
Well, I can tell you another process. You go in a book club, you listen to 150 albums a year.
Right.
So at least every album gets at least 2 weeks of listening. And you fucking, as you go through, you roughly chuck them in a list. And at the end, you go, right, there's my sort of top 20 that I thought throughout the year. I'm going to go back and listen to them all, shuffle them around a bit and be like, do I feel like this adequately reflects me? I mean, look, my album of the year is a controversial choice, I think. And I only made that choice very late. So, yeah, don't know. That's my process. I mean, I think it's important to say, and I said this last year, that they're not trying to be journalistic about this in the sense that if you write for a Kerrang or The Guardian or whoever, you're hitting a certain audience, and therefore, if you write for Kerrang, you will have listened to the Spirit Box album, the Architects album, the Sleep Token album. I haven't listened to any of those albums. This is my list of like my personal listening. It's not my fucking professional listening. This is what I actually want to listen to. So there's no like.
There's also a wee bit of your professional listening is like there's no value in you listening to Sleep Token album at this stage. Like your professional
absolutely.
listening as well. So like if Sleep Token might have been still in your orbit, you in a professional list, you might have went and checked out because you'd be like, you know what, they could headline Trees, but now they're beyond that. It's like, why even bother?
Yeah, and look, a bunch of the bands in my list played Trees last year or ATG last year or playing this year. I'm not saying it's not my professional stuff, but it's just what I want to fucking listen to. So it's not supposed to be this is the best albums of the year. It's my best albums of the year.
Mate, James, stand by your list, mate. Don't need to defend yourself to the people.
I am going to stand by my list. But before we go into albums, I wanted to quickly mention that Rolo Tomasi and Vower released fucking absolutely brilliant EPs this year. I think EPs always kind of get lost a bit, and they need shouting about. But those bands have been well championed by me. So one that hasn't quite so much is the Sad Season. They played Arctangent last year. They released an EP called It's All Too Loud in Here, which is just fucking weird little idiosyncratic prog thing, full of fucking personality. It's Mikey from Sixth and some other guys, and it's fucking excellent, worth your time. The band's called The Sad Season. So check that out. More to annoy Gav than anything else, I wanted to give you my I'm just going to quickly tell you my
Fucking
20 to
hurry,
20
before
to
you even
11.
say it. Hurry. I mean, tell the truth, you wanted to give us your 50 to 11. That's what you
Right, I
wanted.
did, mate. I have got a list of 50. Look, number 20, my 20 favourite album of the year is by Blessings. Number 19, Idle Airs. 18, Conjurer. 17, Deftones. 16, The Motherfucking Wild Hearts. 15, Creeper. 14, We Lost the Sea. 13, Amplifier. 12, Scorpion Milk. And nearly in my top 10, number 11 was Messer. That album's fucking brilliant. So, look, I don't know if you think about these things or not, but I don't think it's been a classic year for rock music, really. I don't think the big bands have been particularly fucking amazing. Like, the Ghost album is quite good. It's fine. The Turnstile album, I mean, I don't want to go against the grain too much here, but it's pretty good. I'm not excited about the Turnstile album.
Is that going against the grain because you're saying it's good, or going against the grain because it's supposed to be amazing?
Well, people, I mean, they're the band of the year. Who's the band of the year? Turnstile. I mean, like, they are fucking on a rocket ship to the fucking moon. And, as you might say, did I just use a Gav?
Yeah, mate, there's
Fucking
plenty
hell.
more to come, mate. Your partner levels are seriously upgraded in 2026.
But I can't help but be disappointed by the sort of big bands of this year, apart from those that made it into my top 10, which we will talk about. I mean, how do you feel about the year of music listening? Did you find this an easy list to put together, or?
Do you know what? It's difficult because I feel like some big bands did deliver, which isn't always the case. And I don't know. I feel like these two episodes that we've done in the albums here have exposed me a wee bit for being a creature of habit and so almost religiously going back to the same albums and eras and genres and not. I don't have the same. I don't know why. I absolutely love music. I'm obsessed with music, but I don't get excited about new albums that comes out. I don't know if it's like. Until you've shown me it's a good album, I'm not going to be excited about the prospect of a good album. I want it to know it's good, and then I'll be very excited, and then I'll put it in my heart, and I'll carry it with me for the rest of my life and listen in 30 years' time, and bore the life at you in the pub or at a festival field about it. But until I've actually got it, I'm about like the new Radiohead albums maybe coming, I'm like, fuck, am I really that bothered? And then you hear it, and it may be the best thing ever, and then I'm bothered. So there's something about that I don't have this sort of time. I could not tell you. I'll have a Scooby what albums are going to be coming out in 2026 by which bands. And even if you told me Nine Inch Nails, Deftones, Tool, Radiohead, I'd be like, oh, that's interesting, but I wouldn't be sitting here counting down the days to them. And I think that's kind of, these lists have shown me that. I found putting this list together easier than I did last year because I've had it in my mind, not in a spreadsheet or an album club the way you have, but I've definitely had it like, oh, listen to the album, mental note that's one to go back to. That will definitely feature, I'm sure of it. And that's happened throughout the year. And there's been a couple of ones that are just absolute all-timers for me that have been released this year that I'm like, that would have made a list in any year. So I've just, but I tell you what, when I'm sitting and I'm going through it and then I'm putting the notes together and I'm trying to make sure that I've got the title right or I'm checking a lyric or something like that, and then I see a wee bit more about the album that I enjoy, I love that bit. I love it because then I just feel like I just scratched through another layer to, oh, right, that's what that meant. That was the meaning behind it. That's what the band will come through. And that means a lot to me as well because I do, as I said, I really enjoy the lyrical content. For a guy who loves post-rock so much, it's amazing how much I find the lyrics important. And I enjoyed that over the last couple of weeks, and especially last night when I was digging down at the actual details of what things were called and the lyrics and stuff. That I was about like, oh, right, I never realised they were from there, or that's the hardship they'd gone through. And I've enjoyed it. I do enjoy putting it in. It gives me an appreciation for. There's a couple of albums in here that I would never have gone back to that I finally made my top 10 in the list if it wasn't for doing this list that I went back to because I was trying harder not to put on Mariner, or trying harder not to put on OK Computer or the Downward Spiral instead of just going back to what I could do and say, what was it? I wasn't giving it much attention at the time. It was playing when I was cooking dinner in the kitchen, the kids were there. Maybe it's better than I thought, and you go back like, well, shit, it really is a lot better than I thought. I've done a lot of that.
Good. Sounds like it's going to be a good list, mate.
Well, we'll start. Do you? So who? Like, I feel like this is your podcast. This is the highlight of your year, so your number one should come last. So will I go? So that means that would make me go first, wouldn't it?
Yep, go for it.
Okay, drum roll shifted. Coming in at number 10, Dead Guy, near-death travel services. Now, I've a wee bit of backstory with the whole Dead Guy thing being that they popped it. Like, so 30 years ago, they're like the founding fathers of metallic hardcore, shortened to metalcore for Kerrang and Metal Hammer. And they're given a lot of credit to the likes of Dillinger Escape Plan and Converge for the sound that they made. There's an excellent documentary out there, I forget the name of it at the moment, where these bands are some of your favourite, like mathcore, metalcore bands, hardcore bands, are giving Dead Guy their props. They came out 30 years ago, released a record called Fixation on a Co-Worker. One and done, gone. Never to be heard from again. And then they popped up at that metal and beer festival in Philadelphia, and I noticed a few guys go, "Oh, fucking Dead Guy, that'd be great." And I love shit like that. I absolutely loved shit like that. And I listened to them, loved the record, got them at Damnation. 2023, I believe, they were supposed to do this record, Near Death Travel Services, in full. I paid for it, for them to play it in full at Damnation. By the time they had arrived, none of it was ready. And we kind of got the classic record, and then the classic record with some hits. So I brought them back this year, and they were to do the full near-death travel services at Night of Salvation, and then a classic set of Damnation. And to be fair, we got about 3/4 of it, and I made the joke at the end, you're going to get me strung up. Because I recognised that I'd heard the album enough times to be like, that's not the order. They're not playing that in the way that I've listened to this in record. And it's an unbelievable, angry... I mean, the fact that they've managed to hold on to that anger, or it's got worse even, enrage themselves further in the 30-year gap and come back and sound the way they sound. It sounds like, it's so metallic's a great word for it, because it sounds like it was recorded in the tool shed at Beck Arena. It sounds like somebody's put a mic in the middle of the room and everyone's just had at it. That raw guy screaming into the mic, just an angry guy shouting in the mic as you've got this metalcore, old school metalcore, hardcore sound behind it. They have a track called The Forever People that sort of encapsulates the anger at every American who didn't vote for Trump at the minute. The lyric in it, no more gods, no more countries, no more lines in the sand, no more blood in our hands. And that's kind of the vibe they've got through this. It's a protest record. It's about the state of the world as it is now. The track followed it, War with Strangers, is exactly what it says in the tin. It could be an American protest song if it wasn't too angry for the radio. It's short, sharp, simple, gets to the point. It tells you it's explicit in what it wants to do. If you like metalcore, if you like the bands like Dillinger Escape Plan and Converge, and Dead Guy, for whatever reason, have managed to pass you by, check them out. It's a 36 second reminder that Dead Guy are back and more pissed off than ever about the state of the world.
Good. I mean, we'll chip in on the other person's releases if we've got something to say. I haven't heard the album, so we'll go on to my number 10, which is Pirouette by Model Actress. So they're not a brilliant band to start on because they're fucking really hard to describe. I'm pretty out of my element with this sort of genre-wise. They're on my radar because it's a nice little example of if people shout a band at you enough in your Facebook groups, like the Arctangent Facebook group, the crowd won't shut up about them. So you're like, wait a minute, I've missed this band. I should check them out. And I didn't listen to the previous album, but went in on this album, and it's got that. It's not a pure Arctangent band, but they would be fucking great. It's like mathy, but also industrial and very like noise rock. But there's this kind of like dark electronica sort of thing going on, which is where I get totally out of my element. But it reminds me of, it doesn't sound like any of these bands, but Show Me the Body, Chat Pile, Nine Inch Nails, Daughters. It's got a lot of the vibe that Daughters would have, the sort of melancholy, dark fucking thing. Very arty, very beard strokey. But they also This is what I really like about this record is that it's got like real hooks on it. I mean, the first song is fucking like an absolute rager. It's like a kitchen, I'm dancing in my kitchen song, proper sort of dance rager. So, in fact, if every song on this album was as good as that first song, this would be my album of the year. They're just a fucking a really great weird little package. If there was a rave in hell, it would fucking sound like this. And yeah, if you haven't heard that band, you should check them out because I think they're fucking cool. And if anyone can make them come and play Arctangent, then please do.
Is there something at the minute that would stop them playing Arctangent? Do
No,
they
it's
care?
just I don't know. We've talked about this before, but when you know the agent,
Yeah.
it's just fucking so easy. Like, if Neurosis had been booked by Hayden, they would have played Arctangent 5 times already.
Yeah.
Not anymore. But yeah, whereas just some agents are like, what is this Arctangent? Particularly when you're like sort of cool in the sort of more indie hipster world, a lot of them are like, what the fuck is this stupid metal festival? We talked about this before. I'm not saying that's what the agent thinks for Model Actress, but it's just not I don't think we're on their radar really. So
Okay.
maybe
Okay,
one day. I haven't tried hard.
Talking about bands who definitely fit the bill at Arctangent, the mighty Mogwai, and their latest offering, the Bad Fire. Now I don't know if this is a UK scene or if it's just for Scottish grannies, but the Bad Fire, like, don't you touch your sweeties, you go to the Bad Fire, means hell. So that's it's a Scottish granny saying then.
Yeah.
I get told a lot growing up that I was going to go to Bad Fire. So it sits in me a lot. It's a very Mogwai, very Mogwai term. It's for an album title. Now, this is a definition of a grower, and if it hadn't been for it being Mogwai in the last record, As the Love Continues, hadn't been such a belter, I probably would have just let it be after the first couple of listens because it's so subtle and so unremarkable. Even in that, as a post-rock record, it's easy to pass you by if you do not give it the time and attention it needs. Now, much like the band themselves, the Bad Fire doesn't care what you think. It's not here to please you. Mogwai, post-rock is Mogwai genre, and they will do as they please with it. And if they fancy hitting you with an absolute monolithic banger like We're Not Here, they'll do it. Or like Herod, they'll do it. And if they want to go a bit more gentle on the album, they'll also do that too. This is one of these ones, if you give it the time and space, you do notice the devil's in the detail. And the rewards are plentiful when you get there. The God Gets You Back, the opener, it's quite a pleasant wee ditty. It's got a sort of off-kilter electric loop that goes through it and he sort of eases you in. Sort of sets the tone for the record. And then you get Pale Vegan Hip Pain. I mean, that could be a song on a sleep app. I mean, when you're listening, like, I'm sure Kelly listens to a song just like this as you're trying to go to sleep. But again, it's done very well. And then as the record progresses, they sort of start to dig out their toolbox and the pedal boards and a bit of Scottish spunk comes for the likes of 18 Volcanoes and Lion Rumpus, which in contrast to the rest of the record sounds like a fucking rave. There's something about it, the subtlety, how unremarkable, how little it's trying to that's appealing. It's a bit like coming home for dinner for your lobster thermidor, but what you want's a roll and fucking square sausage. Sometimes it's just what you need, and this record delivers when you've maybe had a day when the world's thrown a lot at you, and what you need is to put your feet up with a cold beer and listen to something that is not demanding your full attention at all times. A great post-rock record by a great post-rock band, and the Mogwai, the Bad Fire, is my number 9.
Good stuff. Okay, my number 9 is Braiding the Stories by Giles Weird. May not pronounce that correctly.
Mate, I mean, you're really throwing the curveballs at us now. Fucking Giles Weird.
Mate, so, well, just for those, neither mine nor your black metal credentials are that great. So, just for those who don't know, Gal used to be in the Norwegian black metal band Gorgoroth. They're not a band I've ever listened to, let's be honest. Like, I tend to get on board with black metal when it's got, like, I really like that Eshon album, but it's really prog rock across with black metal. Whereas straight down the line black metal is it's not really my sort of thing. He's famous for that YouTube clip. It's fucking brilliant. They it's a documentary, and they ask him. You must have seen this. They ask him what ideas primarily fuel Gorgoroth, and he just sits back in his chair and doesn't say anything. And there's a fucking massive pause, and he just goes, "Satan." It's like, and then he picks up his glass of red wine, and just fucking has a massive glug, and then just sits back looking angry. So Satan is what fuels him, or what used to fuel him. It's fucking po-faced and hilarious, all that. I think, but right. I read a review of this album in Metal Hammer this year. I knew who Garl was, but didn't really listen to him. So I thought, fuck it, sounds up my street. I'm going to have a listen. And it's like a blend of sort of prog and extreme metal. If the phrase black metal is scaring you off here, don't be. I think this is for fans of Opeth and Ishon, not fans of Gorgoroth. It's not that heavy. It's got some fucking insanely brilliant riffs on it. It's got some cool solos. I do like a solo. It's got singing on it. It's got melody, and it's just a really interesting mix. And if you like those bands I just mentioned, I think it's going to be right up your street. And look, I don't even know if this is their debut album. I know fucking nothing about this band. I haven't tried to book them, but it ticks a box for me, which hasn't been ticked this year in my sort of general listening, which is just like extreme prog, I guess. And it's really fucking good. And it's fueled by Satan, so what's not to love?
Fueled by Satan. We booked him. I think it was 2019 or 2018.
Garl's Weird?
Yep.
Oh, fuck me. Was I there that year?
Probably.
Fuck's
probably.
sake.
It's I mean, I've realised that's the running theme of this relationship, isn't it? Don't worry. 3 or 4 years later, you'll catch up. So, aye, good. I'm glad that I tell you, that is a fucking curveball, though. I could not have guessed that in a million attempts that would be in your top 10.
I think
10,
I did
so.
on the record. I did on the record it, I think.
I mean, what's happening here? Like, are we going back? Like, are we interchanging our roles or something? My number 8 is the Callous Cowboys. I better not see you in heaven.
Yes.
Now, and the art tangents are ever present. In fact, I'm sure they would have played Damnation by now if they weren't always on your field. Now, this is a weird band for me, right? Because the Dillinger worship is, at the start and every time I hear it, it's a wee bit off-putting. I feel like if I was want to listen to a Dillinger Escape Plan record, I can just go listen to a Dillinger Escape Plan record. Why do I need to put on the Callous Cowboys? But then every time I see them, and every time I see them is usually at your festival, they keep dragging me back in and scratching that itch again to be like, aye, but there's something more here, And this record that proves there is. But I sometimes I feel like I'm the only person hearing the Dillinger stuff, because when I see reviews and I hear other people talking about them, I don't see the Dillinger comparisons yet. When this one launches into its first track, it's the most Dillinger section of the full record. And then they've got a track called Distracted by the Mona Lisa. And that must be an in-joke as well. I mean, how many bands in the mathcore world or the metalcore world have anything called Mona Lisa in their tracks, and then these two have got the same thing with the same... It's like, it feels like they're taking the piss a wee bit with it as well. But before we get into it, do you hear the comparisons to Dillinger Escape Plan?
Yeah, absolutely. But there's a chunk of what is really just fucking R&B or pop in the band. And there's that song called, I'm just trying to look it up, it's something to do with a trout.
Two-headed trout.
Yeah, which is a fucking rage. I think I probably put it on the record a while back. It is an absolute fucking banger. And you can imagine this band one day releasing an album that isn't heavy at all.
Yeah.
Which I don't think Dillinger did get more melodic, but they never really left that behind. I can imagine the Callous Cowboys doing that. In fact, an agent said to me the other day, they'll never be massive though, will they? They'll never play in arenas or whatever. And I'm like, I don't know. There's something about them.
There's something, but here's the thing. I went into it at the start, and I've got everyone I know shouting about the Callous Cowboys, and you get that whole excitement about it. And I listened to the record, and there was so much to enjoy for it, but it just wasn't enough in it for me to be like, I'm all in. With this record, I'm all in. I mean, between the live show being spectacular and then this, because it does edge away. I mean, a lot of these bands, I mean, they sound It sounded a wee bit like Tom and Jerry trapped in a piano at times. I mean, it's just, you've got fucking no idea what's happening next. It's like, the dynamic and tempo shifts are all over the place. And sometimes that's the off-putting bit, because sometimes trying to be clever is what puts you off. But with this one, it's still just as chaotic, but it's more measured, and the chaos seems to fit where it's supposed to fit. And when you're listening to it, like Schizophrenia Legacy is like a whirlwind between Meshuggah and Incubus, but it works. The whole journey of that track works. Two-Headed Trout is more addictive than free cocaine. It's like you just listen. You're just like it's got me like, I know, like if it's starting a circus or something, and it's just what an absolutely infectious tune. I absolutely love it. And there was is it Lemon? The one where it could be a pop tune, an alternative tune, because it's actually quite, as exactly what you said, the whole track is quite melodic, and he seems to be a bit like reflective on the singer's journey and his, I don't know, disappointment that he'd not managed to do more with the band, or people's perception of what he's been able to do with the band. And it's cool. I'm so used to this band being a bit like, oh, let's throw up another meme on the screen, that I never really saw past that and into some of the subtlety and the feelings that are going into this music, which are obviously deep for them too. So, I mean, excellent across it, and then actually gets to the aforementioned track, Distracted by the Mona Lisa. And that's about as straightforward a Callous Cowboys track as you get. And it turns out when they don't try to chuck 17 genres at the one track, they're brilliant at that too. There's bits of that had huge, the chorus, it's got huge 100 Reasons vibes about it. It's got just a big catchy feel good. You can imagine yourself bouncing along at the Barrowlands to it, which I thought was excellent. And then to wrap up, they've got this acid trip at Alton Towers of a final 11 minutes, a country song in reverse, which pulls you sort of from borderline sludge to gang chants and gentle jazz and new metal riffs. And the thing with the Callous Cowboys have probably always been that you either love them or hate them, but there's no space on the fence. You're no place in the fence. You're going to come down on one side or the other. And I am now firmly in the I do love them camp. And I think this record might ease me back into the previous records to be like, there's more to this. Just give it another chance. So, number 8, I Better Not See You in Heaven by the Callous Cowboys.
Fucking great. I'm glad to chase him that. It feels like this is like the next Two Promoters One Pod package tour. Now you're in on this band. That would be great. Callous Cowboys headline in a tour with, I was about to just shout out bands, well, including, in fact, here you go. Go on.
I had Meryl Streep's agent on the phone last night talking about another project that they want to get us involved with, the 3 festivals, which sounds reasonably interesting and fun. But I was a bit like, she was talking about the tour that we're putting on. Like, but where does it end? If this all sells in, it goes well. Like, where's another 3 bands that would go together that would fit? Like, there you go, Callous Cowboys, Meryl Streep, and one other on there.
And the other band is my number 8, and it is The Beep Test by God Alone. So it would be a fucking great band on this bill. This is not, guys, it's written in the stars.
Just for the people who listen, James has not booked this package, okay? You can't get the opening slower. This is us just talking on a podcast.
Hidden Mothers, surely, as he joined them on stage. Okay, look, big shout out to our Facebook group, because I mentioned a while back when you were on holiday, I sent you a list of 100 albums that I'd been listening to this year. And someone asked me to post it on the Facebook group. I did. And then the first comment was like, where the fuck is God Alone? And I was like, okay, look, I've heard a few people say this album's good. I didn't really think it would be up my street. They're an Arctangent band, very much so, but didn't feel like it was me personally. So I put it on, and since then I've been rinsing it, and it has just gone up and up and up. There's not many albums can crack my top 10 that I don't listen to until mid-November. But it's like, it's a weird mix. So they're very catchy, but very heavy. It's got like loads of sort of what I would call traditional Arctangent math rock, like Until Which from Afar Off and Little Tea Party, bouncy. We can have a nice time in a mosh pit to this. But it also gets Converge heavy, and they smash you over the face with a fucking lovely guitar solo as well. So it's like super eclectic. And then I was like, fuck, I don't know how to describe this. I'm not a music journalist. So I did what no music journalist would ever do, apart from all the lazy ones that Gav calls out. And I went to their Spotify and realised that they've perfectly described themselves already. And they've described themselves as mashing together math rock virtuosity, metal intensity, pop hooks, techno textures, and dance floor ready grooves. And I'm like, oh yeah, great. That is what they sound like. So I just copied and pasted it like a lazy bastard that I am. Look, the whole album is fucking obscenely catchy, even the heavy bits. It's so full of energy. If we had another month, it would probably be even higher in my list. And if we're judging albums on it getting you dancing around your kitchen, then it's probably the album of the year. So The Beep Test by God Alone. If you don't know them, they're fucking great. I think I leaked that they're playing Arctangent this year on a previous episode. If I didn't, this is me leaking it now.
That's leaked now.
Because this is so good. They played about 7 years running or something stupid, but fuck it. This album is too good to not hear this year.
Look, do you know what? Here's the thing about God Alone, and when you first fell in love, when you came on and were falling over yourself about this record a month or so ago, I was like, these are the bands that we want. I mean, these are the bands you want to see succeed. I mean, if this podcast achieves more than selling some tickets for our festivals, let's get these bands the platform they deserve as well. God Alone are that band. God Alone are right here. They're right here for Dublin. They are on our doorstep. They will be at Arctangent this year. They'll no doubt make it at one of the damnations. I mean, they're one of those bands that are always the brink. They're like one of the 20 bands that are always like, I happily have them, but then the slot's just never there for them. So let's make 2026 a massive year for God Alone. Finish this podcast. Go and listen to these bands, the ones that we're describing what the music sounds like. If that sounds up your street, go check them out. Go check out their socials, follow them, give this a band a fucking chance. They've been on the road for years. They seem to be the kind of band that when they go out there, they give it the beans. There's not a bean left in the tin by the time they're done. So go and support them. Let's see some of these bands get the love they deserve rather than fucking Five Finger Death Punch in next tour. You know what I mean? Let's support God Alone. So
absolutely.
Yes,
I'm
mate,
on. 9 a.m. on Thursday morning, your phone's going to go and it's going to be Hayden being like, hey Gav, just listen to the podcast. What about this damnation slot for God Alone?
I mean,
and I support that, Hayden.
The only way you would get our agent on the phone telling us anything about the podcast. Oh, by the way, could you give me some of your money, please, Gavin? Great, Hayden. I'll get right to that, pal. So Happy New Year, Hayden. So number 7, Brute. And it's always good if you try to do it in the French accent as well. No, Brute, right? A Brute, right? Brute. And I'm good at accents. The Age of Inferiority.
Clip that, Shifty.
And also, I almost never picked that. Inferiority. Oh, fuck it. Aye, the Age of that. And this band, oh my God. I recall, there's a few bands that you recall the moment you're about like, okay, I'm in. I was lying in the bath about a year ago, 2 years ago. And first record or whatever their catalogue, The Machine is Burning, and now everyone knows it could happen again. And to be honest, like Brute do this, they make you wait. They have patience if you're going to be a fan of this band. And the record was okay. It was fine. It was kind of long electronic sort of post rock done with a classical tinge. And then the final track, The Machine is Burning, is just like God tier. Like absolute end level boss of their style of post rock, which only really sounds like him. And I was like, within one listen, I wanted to book that band and did, and had them at Damnation, and they were fantastic. Now, when this one came out, they make it so fucking difficult because they refuse to play the game with the music industry. They will not allow their stuff on Spotify. In fact, the only track they've got on Spotify is a protest song about Spotify. So I own the record, the vinyl, but you need to go to a record player when you have the time and then put it on and sit and listen to it. And I just don't really get that time. So then it's a case of remember to do it and go to Bandcamp if you actually want to listen to it through a speaker. So it's one of these records that I haven't had as much time as I would have if it was in the most convenient way that I like to stream music. But there's something about that makes it even more alluring. And it's more of the same of that last record. It follows a similar pattern. It's less post-rock and more like a film score. There is everything they do is sort of considered, polished up, reconsidered and presented in it's the most expansive post-rock, classical post-rock that you can get. At times it makes Godspeed You Black Emperor sound as minimalistic as Green Day. It's like there's everything going on. They have the usual guitars and drums, then they've got the cello, and the violin, and the piano, synths, trumpets, electronics. They've got a French section with a brass section with a French horn, trumpet, trombone, and this monumental organ. Now, when you listen to them, they sound. I've always thought that the Brute sound like they've been recorded in a cathedral, and it turns out when I was investigating a bit more, the fucking album was recorded in a church using some 19th century organ, which seems even more crackers when you listen to it, because it's got the production of a supercomputer. It sounds like it's been put together on some calculator. It's so crisp and nothing sort of overshadows anything else. To have so many huge instruments in one place, and it's a film score that just keeps getting better and better. And when you get to there's Techno Slavery Vandalism is the second last tune of the 5, and then the last tune is a 13-minute closer, The Intoxication of Power, and by the end of that it is a film score, and it is the end of the world by the time it goes, and it finishes with a sort of George Orwell 1984 quote, which is, if you want a picture of the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever. And that's been used by Anonafrax, so People for Damnation will recognise that quote, if not from the book of film itself, from Anonafrax also using it. But what the difference is with Brute is they're a protest band, but not without hope. They follow up with the next bit of that no one ever hears, which is the bit, don't let it happen, it depends on you, which is like that whole fight back message that they've got. And I don't know, it's just it's an inspiring record. It sounds like nothing else. If I had more access to it readily, and this is one of the ones that probably could have edged its way up further up. I mean, the first 3 tracks, like their previous album, aren't as strong as the last couple, and it's the last couple, like, it goes into its own level of brilliance, but that's not consistent through an entire record to take it above 7. But the one word to describe them would be magnifique. French also.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, it's annoying all that. Like, I'm all for people boycotting anything they want to boycott, but it does make, for me, them harder to listen to, because they're not on anything. I don't think they're on Tidal either. I might be wrong.
I'm right in thinking they are on Arctangent.
Yes, they are on Arctangent. So I've got that on record as well, and I've just only had a chance to listen a couple of times, which is a shame, because I would like to.
Can we get another exclusive for Arctangent? Do you know what stage they're going to play? No, off the top of your head?
No, but mate, I'm sat on my computer here, aren't I? So for you, no, fuck that. That's going to take too long. Let's not do that. That is terrible, terrible bit of podcasting there.
Anyway,
for you,
I was like, I'm trying to envisage where we're going to see this unbelievable show by Brute. There's part of me that wants
Yokai, I think. Where do you want to see him? Tell me, I can move him. You want to see him on the main stage? Is that what you're going to say?
I mean, I thought there's just something about it. If they just bring the whole thing and they had the big screen and we're going to use it properly, then I mean, the main stage would be great. But there's also something about it smaller, the better, and the more intimate. So, don't listen to me. Don't listen to me.
Okay, deal. My number 7 is Lucro Sucio Los Ojos del Vacío by the Mars Volta.
Get the fuck. This never even cracked your top 100 at the start of the year.
So I was hugely underwhelmed by this record the first 2 weeks when it came out. Because they're my favourite band, I rinsed it. I've genuinely come to really love it. I mean, it's a really interesting addition to their catalogue, and I'll explain why. I reject the idea that some people may think that I feel like I need to put this in here, or I'm pretending it's good, like Metallica fans do, or more pertinently, Iron Maiden fans do. This album is really fucking good. It's just fucking weird and unusual, and not in the way they're normally weird and unusual. They're normally weird, unusual, proggy, fuck with your head, 30-minute songs. This is lots and lots of little songs, right? Like minute-long songs, which the whole album is almost one piece of music. So when you first listen to it, that's totally discombobulating, and some of it seems like it's a bit too wallpaper, and I couldn't work out what the fuck was going on. But once you hook in to some of the massive fuck off hooks that there are in there, then the album starts to build on you. And the thing is, most bands do a chorus like 4 times, and that's why it sticks in your head. The Mars Volta on this album do the chorus once, or they've just got a really catchy sort of middle 8, which is a middle 8 to nothing. It's just fucking on its own in this. So you have to listen to it a fucking billion times to even work out what's going on. Like the second song is so brilliant, and after a minute it ends, and that's just the Mars Volta going, ha ha, we're moving on. We're going on to the next song, so fuck you. We know that was great, and any other band would have given you 5 minutes of this, but we're going to do what the fuck we want. So, look, the album is absolutely stacked with hooks and interesting ideas. It's quite different. It's similar in sounds to the album from a couple of years back, but it's quite different to that. That album was just like very like 3-minute pop songs. This is just something fucking different. There are 0 Mars Volta payoffs that the traditional fan would expect, where they do a big drop or a big fucking chorus and you just want to cry. It's so brilliant. There's none of that, and it's definitely intentional. They know exactly what they're doing. And I think they're true, like, as pretentious as this is, they're true like creatives like Genesis were and Rush were. And they don't have a career of releasing the same album again. They have a heyday of about 5 albums, and then they fuck off and do whatever they want. And they're in the studio at the moment, and I bet you it's another left field thing, which will annoy the fuck out of Lose Brews and everyone else. And what a band. What a fucking band. You know, look, let me be clear. This album is in the bottom section of their 8 albums. It's in the bottom 2 or 3. No one's saying this is the new D Last in the Comatorium or Francis to Mute, but it's fucking brilliant, and I urge Mars Volta fans to go back and give it another go.
Okay, James, it's your list, mate. It's your list. you want to set fire in the middle of your list, you bash on, mate. I will put this back in course with another absolute gem, and I'm truly delighted to put this in the list, and as high as it is, Conjurer, Unself. They are such a great group to start with, and a pleasure to work with. But that's an aside from whatever they put out. The Pathos record just seemed to fall between the cracks. It wasn't as if it wasn't a good record. It was, but it followed up Maya. I think the world was waiting for something. I don't know if it was right in the middle of lockdown, and it was supposed to push them on to the next level, and it didn't. And I feel like if this record hadn't come out and done what it was supposed to, we might not have had Conjurer for much longer to enjoy and appreciate. And thankfully it did. Thankfully Unself landed and square on the jaw. People were blown away with it, and rightly so. It's an incredible record. They sold out their UK tour. They absolutely packed Damnation at an unreasonable time for Damnation to be that busy. They are going to pack wherever they are at Art Tangent this year, and I hope this leads them on to so much better things. And they do that, and you have that pressure on you as a band to come out, and everyone's expecting the return of Maya or Maya Part 2, get back track, and you start with an old Americana track and set the tone for the whole record about, listen, you're going to get battered with everything Conjurer is, that sort of post-metal sludge, sort of end of the world doom, but with vulnerability about it. And that bit sets the tone for it. The lyric, I can't feel at home in this world anymore, is exactly what it's all about. It's about the fragility of the songwriter, the fragility of the record, about trying to cope in a world where you don't feel you're welcome. And it's odd to listen to that, because you've got that juxtaposition of the biblically heavy Conjurer sound and then the vulnerability of the record, of the lyrics, or what's happening at the same time, and the two of them go together perfectly. I mean, All Apart and There Is No Warmth are monumental tracks, a post-metal and sludge, and a cement mixer that just goes the way that Conjurer make that sound. And then there's Let Us Live, which is an absolute highlight of the record. It's like an outpouring of grief, anger, and then that sort of punch at the end, the gang chant almost on a sludge record of Let Us Live. which I believe has plenty of guest vocalists on it with them. And it's not a question, it's a demand. It's a demand. Let us live in this world. We're here too. What do you want for us? I mean, how are we supposed to change in your eyes? Well, what is it that's wrong with us? And it's just such a fucking powerful record. I'm glad that I've had a chance to dive a bit deeper with it and scratch it. I mean, at the start you've only got your own perception. I've read a wee bit more into it, and a bit like it sits with you. It's a heavy record, both in emotional content and in riffs. And I really hope it's the start of what's the future for what's to become of Conjurer, because I would love to see this band cost me a fortune.
Good stuff. Well, I know you're desperate to have some crossover in our list, but that was number 18 in mine. So I really like that album. Fucking really good. So my number 6 is The World Is Still Here and So Are We by McCluskey. So it's the first McCluskey album for 19 years. And it is for fans of McCluskey. Anyone who likes McCluskey will know why that's funny, because McCluskey sound like McCluskey. They're like sort of a singular thing. They're just like this band doing this thing. They didn't invent a new genre, but it's just totally, they don't sound like anyone else. I never think of other reference points when I'm listening to McCluskey. It's just fucking McCluskey writing incredible sort of noise rock songs with mega hooks, and the sort of the singular voice that is Falco. Like he's a complete one-off. This album is absolutely brilliant. I think if anyone's sat here and you're thinking, I'm late to the party, I keep hearing about McCluskey, it's not too late to go and fucking discover them, because they're amazing. And look, it is not easy to release an album after 19 years. They had quite a short career. 3 albums and done. It's not easy to release an album after 19 years and be able to just slide it in next to the others and not be embarrassed. Just ask Refused. And, it's like, it perfectly sits alongside the old stuff. So, well fucking done. I love this band. Obviously, they played Trees in ATG last year and will no doubt be back again in future years. The only thing I ask for Christmas, Falco, is a new Future of the Left album, please. Thank you.
Okay, Falco, you can sort that for the big man. Up there, above the Mars Volta, fuck's sake. I mean, Falco, you can sort that for the big man.
he fucking hates the Mars Volta as well. So he'll enjoy that.
Even better, he sounds like a gem. Now for a short interlude from our sponsors, Mr. Lou's fucking Brews. His content's been keeping me going over the Christmas holidays. I love it when he comes on and he does the whole sort of American game show presenter that he does for his videos. It comes across really well. He made a garlic and truffle macaroni cheese the other day, and it's like I never fancied macaroni cheese more than I wanted it after watching his video. He does them very well. Talking of things that also go very well, the mulled turbo Lou glaze on your ham. Now, I've been on here now since day one, shouting about Lou's Brews, his sauces, the ones I think are great, the ones I think are not so great, and I've never had more pressure on my shoulders than Christmas dinner. Christmas dinner in my house is a big deal, and the ham, the joint of ham that's normally done with mustard and honey, whole grain mustard and honey, was getting sacrificed this year. The people's favourite, the people's choice favourite was getting sacrificed for the same bit of ham done in mulled glaze. And it's not like people are willing to say, okay, if it doesn't work, it'll be fine. It's Christmas. It's like it's the season of forgiveness now. No, they were like, if you fuck this up, Gavin, and you fuck up dinner, we're not going to be happy. So I did feel a fair bit of pressure on me as we were cooking this ham. And I was like, if this mulled glaze better deliver. And I'm very happy to say it did, Lou. It did. You saved my Christmas dinner. The ham done in the mulled glaze was a winner, was a treat. Everyone loved it. It got scoffed. You win again, sir. And he sounds like he's had a great festive period. He done a video to say that a lot of his stock had been wiped out and it was going to take a bit of time to get restocked. But ones that he did have still there for some reason are some of the best ones. He's got his Tikka Taka, which is not only one of the best sauces he's ever done, it's the cheapest. It's £4.50. Some of the sauces up to anal vomit can be £12. The Tikka Taka, I've had no one who tried that and they say it was fucking spectacular.
It's incredible.
It's like It's like a curry. It's like a curry in a tube. So go and get yourself on that. They've got I've got a few Two Promoters One pod. Two Promoters One pod back. They had a few on the shelf. Probably be a while before we see that again. I mean, the Damnation one's already gone. The Trees one's gone. The Tangent one's gone. There's a few left of the Two Promoters One pod, and then you probably be a months before that's back on the shelf. Go and grab yourself a bottle of that, and the V Rev, the smoked hun maple honey, is another absolute classic. Those are ones you can eat if you're not that worried about the spice. And then he's got a bunch of the ones. He's got his cranberry from Christmas back that's getting extra spice in it. Let's make 2026 a big one for Lou. He's a one-man show. He deserves the business. He puts his heart and soul into it. The sauces are fucking incredible. Otherwise, why would anyone care? Go and treat yourself. If you're maybe coming off the sauce like me and James, off the sauce, then try a new sauce. Go for this. Make your dinners. At least make your meals good. If you can't sit and have it with a bottle of wine, if you can't have it with a bottle of wine and a bottle of Jack Daniels, have it with a bottle of Lou's Brews. When you get to the checkout, pod 15, a further 15% off your order. Support the guy.
Do it. Fantastic.
Okay, Mr. Scala, into the sharp end. Top 5 albums of 2025. I will go with Death Heaven's Lonely People with Power. Now, first off, I mean, you'd said earlier about Turnstile being the champion. I mean, from the metal world, I mean, from our end of the world, I feel like Death Heaven's Lonely People with Power is the consensus people's choice of album of the year, from your Kerrangs and Metal Hammers, and it was the top album in the Damnation's forum poll as well. I mean, across the board, it's just like it featured absolutely everywhere. And I don't know if you recall it, but we rinsed this record on the first tour, going from, I think it was Glasgow to Manchester. Was it Glasgow? There seemed to be a place where it sat on repeat for about 7 listens in a row. And it was, to be fair, was it Nostalgia? I think the track they played was Nostalgia, and everyone lost their mind because it was like Opeth coming back with the grills. It was Death Heaven with the tortured, blackened screams of the Sunbather era, and that is what people had been missing. And I mean, even the Roadburn fans will admit it. I mean, even if you did enjoy the records in between where they got softer, and they've got every right to, when everyone missed the Sunbather era vocals and they came back, Nostalgia was an absolute hit, and then had to follow up with the rest of the record being as strong, and it was. They've got an amazing way of sort of combining that frenetic black metal drumming against the sort of melodic post-rock backdrops they've got, and his powerful vocals like pasted into the texture. Nothing overpowers anything else. His vocals are almost like an instrument when he does it like that. It just sort of blends seamlessly in with this contrasting style with the frenetic drums and then the post-metal. And it just, when Death Heaven get it right, they're as good as it gets with that style. And I was so glad to see them coming back with that record. And then you've also got bits with a track like Heathen. I mean, Doberman is one of the tracks that sets the tone. Nostalgia is obviously a real standout. It's no Nostalgia, it's Magnolia. I was like, I felt like I was mixing. It's Magnolia was the name of the first record they put out, or the first single, and then from that they had to get the rest of it going. And the track Heathen, the thing is, they've got a few tracks on there where they allow it to breathe, where it can be a bit more gentle, and they can show off that side of it. Doesn't no everything needs to sound like Vigdud, that this is the one pace that they go at and nothing can change. They can tone it down. And then when, like most things, when you get that palate cleanser, it makes, when they go back into the blackened screams or that style of Death Heaven, even more impressive. So delighted to see them back. Delighted to see the response that they got. I mean, I feel like Death Heaven did go into a wee bit of a lull as a band, as a live band, and now it's like they are back and everyone wants to see them again. I caught them at Outbreak, and I caught them obviously at Damnation. Looking forward to again seeing them at some point down the road at like an Art Tangent or whatever else they might be in the UK scene. And aye, over an hour, Lonely People with Power showcases Deaf Heaven back at their brilliant best at number 5.
Lovely stuff. Well, I don't know if you'll be saying them Arctangent. I'm not going to go deep into this story, but because of the technical problems of last time, we don't really see eye to eye on what happened there. And it's making booking them again quite difficult. So I really want them to come back to Arctangent, but there was some technical problems, to say the least. It was fucking disastrous. So that one thing I would say is that I'm sure this doesn't affect you and you're listening, but sometimes when I've got something like that rumbling in the background, it makes it hard to put on the album and be like, yeah, I fucking love the new Deaf Heaven album. I had a thing with Creeper this year where I really wanted Creeper to play and we couldn't agree. And it was at the time the album came out and it was just like, I just want to listen to this album and not think about work. And it's annoying sometimes when... So Deaf Heaven and Creeper are my two from this year where I was trying to do deals that I ultimately couldn't make happen and we disagree on some fundamental things. And we haven't fallen out. Well, I don't know if I've fallen out with Deaf Heaven. I certainly haven't fallen out with Creeper. But it just affects your listening. Do you know what I mean?
I know, to be continued.
Okay, good. Well, my number 5 album of the year is Worldmaker by Psychonaut. So my journey with Psychonaut is that they released Unfold the Godman in 2020. I thought it was an absolute classic. I don't often like to big myself up in this sort of like I discovered these bands way, but I bigged them up in the UK a lot. Gave them a really good sod at Arctangent and fucking pushed them. It was my number 2 album of the year that year behind The Ocean. And I was just like, fuck me, this band are incredible. And then they released an album in 2022, which was in my top 20, but I was way less excited about. So it's kind of like up in the air as to where I was going to go with this album. And I was like, it came out. I thought it was really good. It definitely wasn't going to be in my top 5. And then I saw them at Damnation. And it was like we've talked about this before, but I felt like my eyes were suddenly open. Something clicked with me during that set where I was like, fuck me, this band are so fucking amazing. And I mean, you think I'd already knew that, but they were more amazing than I already knew. Not only that, I wasn't desperately wanting to hear the Unfold the Godman songs from 2020. I was just like, these new songs live are incredible. Then we get home and put that record on. And then since then, I just rinsed it and it's brilliant. It's so like, it's still post-metal, but it's much more like Pink Floyd than it is Meshuggah. It's got way more melody than it has metal. It's like, it's a really horrible word to use, but it feels like a mature album. It's like a considered album that is just going to take its time to reveal itself, and you better be prepared to fucking wait. And then 15 listens in, you're just suddenly like, holy shit. Like, the musicianship's incredible. The vocals and harmonies, which I really saw live at Damnation, the vocals and harmonies are really special. And just the way they construct songs and build songs as a 3-piece is just fucking incredible. I mean, what they're doing on guitar and singing at the same time is insane. And what he's doing on bass and singing at the same time is insane. But not in a show off. Yeah. I'm not really into musicians showing off nowadays. Like, if it doesn't support the song, I'm not that bothered. So look, this album is really, really fucking good, and I'm really happy to say that Psychonaut are my number 5.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I'm glad you enjoyed them as much as you did it, Damnation. I'm looking forward to, because I'm right in thinking they are back at Arctangent this year. Because let's just face it, it has now just become a fucking James Scarlett ego wall. Just like, these are all the bands that I want to see live. They're all on the poster. God alone, you're back again. I know you've been here for the last 7 years. Brilliant. Okay,
I do feel like I should stop booking some of these bands when they're not on cycle. Because when like God Alone or Psychonaut are good examples, when they've just released albums that are in my top 10, what the fuck are you going to do? You got to book them, haven't you? I mean,
absolutely. But plus, James, let's look, it's not the 1990s, mate. There's no fucking such thing as a cycle. A cycle mattered when the music press mattered, and you need that all. There's no thing as a cycle. Like, that's not a thing, right? I don't
Anyone who's got the bingo card has Gav dug at the press yet this episode. There you go.
I don't honestly. I don't want to hear you talking to me like I'm at a fucking industry conference. You're talking about bands being a psycho again. I mean, come on, we're done with that. So
Okay.
anyway, a band that proved that you never even had to be in psycho to become the fucking biggest thing on the planet. Deftones with Private Music. Now I don't think the history is going to show it quite accurately in 5 or 10 years' time that Deftones became the band the size they are before a note of this music was released. They had done the Crystal Palace or the Palace Bar, whatever the fuck that was in London. They had sold out 13,000 tickets to the Hydro in a day before Private Music had been dropped. It was something that only TikTok can explain. Happened to Deftones alongside the likes of your Korn and your Limp Bizkits and the rest of those bands that have just found some sort of avenue to get huge. And Deftones are. So by the time Private Music dropped, it only needed to be a banger, and it was just going to put them in a rocket ship to the moon. And here they are. I mean, not only were they ready to have a huge new listenership for this music that they wouldn't have had for Ohms or Goa, but it was a better album than Ohms and Goa. In fact, when I listen, it grows in me every single time I listen to it. The first time I heard that, I was about like, it sounds fine. It just sounds like a Deftones record, but there's really not much happening in a weird comparison to Mogwai, actually. It's like there's no ragers on there. There's no big bangers on there. But the more and more you listen to it, it's like, weirdly, it sounds like, and this is an odd compliment to pay it sounds like all the best bits of Diamond Eyes that are not the best bits. So it doesn't have a Have You Seen the Butcher? It doesn't have a Royal, and doesn't have a Rocket Skates in there. But it weirdly feels like it's a long extended version of an amazing track like Beauty School. It's just everything about the record's good without it being something on there that you go catch. And the two tracks are the closest thing to that, are the two I think they put out singles, My Mind is a Mountain and Milky and Madonna. But it's still largely there is nothing about that Deftones record you say this is where they've taken a new path or matured or this is more considered. They're just done what Deftones do very, very well, and the best have done it since Diamond Eyes, and definitely better than the last couple of records. And every time I listen to it, it gets better and it gets better. I mean, there's a track in it, Infinity Source, that's got a lovely Rival Schools flow to it, which I'm completely in love with. And then every time I go back to the record, there's another wee nuance that I sort of unlock and get to enjoy again. They are the coolest fucking band in the world. I mean, they're the only band you can imagine being in some frat boys' dorm playing and everyone enjoying it, and also us too. Fucking musicals sitting here going, oh, well, let's talk about the latest Mars Volta record in our mid-40s. It's just, there's just something about them that's so effortlessly cool. I mean, the guy looks like he dresses in a charity shop for kids, and he's still cool as fuck. I mean, he still want to be, I don't know what it is about him. And I mean, they're fucking flat earth in the band, and you still want to be in Deftones. It's like, they are so effortlessly fucking cool. Their latest album is an absolute banger without having necessarily bangers on it. It's just collectively such a good piece of music as a record, and it is my number 4.
Good. I had it at number 17 on my list, and I can't quite know. I don't quite know how to say this. They're so good. They're so fucking brilliant that I've got nothing bad to say about it. But something stopped me, like, just going over the top with it. I don't know if I'm slightly, because there's a lot of like stuff in your head that you don't even know why you think certain things. Like I couldn't connect with Def Heaven because I was falling out with them. And I'm like, am I a bit like, everyone seems to have taken Deftones, they're just massive suddenly. And am I a bit like, why why are our band massive? Do you know what I mean? They're not supposed to be fucking massive. They've just gone, I don't know, it's really taken off. Anyway, it's a really good album. I just didn't quite connect with it. An album that I did connect with is my number 4, which is The Lash by the Dirty Nil. What a fucking band. Why is this band not massive? The Dirty Nil are fucking amazing. They're playing twice at 2000 Trees this year. They can play 1,000 times if they want to. Once again, it's about the fourth album on the bounce. All killer. Zero filler. It's just fucking brilliant song after brilliant song after brilliant song. Banger, 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 banger. Everything they do is full of personality. It feels like it should be an arena. I don't know why it's not an arena. If you like songs and you like guitars, why are you not listening to the Dirty Nil? Weezer fans, take note. Listen to the fucking Dirty Nil, you idiots. They're like Weezer, but Weezer have got shit, and the Dirty Nil are fucking amazing. Listen to the Dirty Nil. Hit after hit after hit. I feel excited and a bit angry that they're not bigger. I've just had a go at Deftones for getting big. But I want the Dirty Nil to be in arenas. Get them in arenas. They're the fucking best fucking band. And everything they do is great.
The Dirty Nil. Okay, come number 4. Now, as I said earlier, to be continued. Had to pull on my big boy pants for this record.
No, you haven't. You haven't.
Cam Girl by Crippling Alcoholism. Now, James has noted that even having a slight disagreement with a couple of bands can change how you feel about music. And that hasn't happened to me a lot, to be fair, over the years. Maybe a couple of examples that don't spring to mind where I've been like, I will fuck that band. I'm not going. I've been lucky that most of the bands I've fallen out with tend to be thrash or black metal, so it doesn't matter. But this was the first one where like, last year in my top 5, I believe, Love from a Padded Room, Crippling Alcoholism just like absolutely grabbed me by the throat and the balls and everything in the fucking neck. They are that good. I am all in this band, and it seems to be one of these. They seem to be one of these bands that if they catch you, you're fucking hooked, and that's just the end of it. And for other folk, they just don't catch you. Now they released Cam Girl, another incredibly brilliant record. While we had them to come and make their UK debut at Damnation and do their UK tour, and obviously they pulled out. I went into it at length on the podcast tour about the reasons why I thought that wasn't necessarily why it didn't need to happen. I'm not going to go over that again now. It did put me off the band and listening to them. First time this has ever happened in my life. For a month or so, I never listened to this record at all. You're totally right. It's not even about the music. You want to put on the music to escape for something. You want to put on the music to enjoy it, to appreciate it, to feel like, I know you're no fucking doing the next chore or dealing with an invoice. And when I was putting on that band, or if I was to put on that band, the first thing that sprung to mind is they were supposed to be playing my festival that I went out of my way to make sure they could come and do, and now they're not, for reasons which I never thought were as viable as their management did. And that was that. But ultimately, good music's fucking good music. And I talked myself back into just don't be such a fucking spoiled child. And there's bigger shit going on in life than this sort of petty. And it's not a beef. It really isn't a beef. I mean, I am a stung a wee bit of it. Of course I am. And I'm not racing back. I haven't put an offer in to try and get Crippling Alcoholism to come back this year. And I would really like to see them do a full UK tour and have it happen before I would consider it again. But that's got nothing to do with Cam Girl. Cam Girl in itself is a fucking work of art, again, by Crippling Alcoholism. 2 albums in a row in the top 10 or top 5 in my list. The Saran Wrapped Cash is up there with one of my favourite tracks of the entire year. The lyric, act like no God is watching, good and evil all dissolving away. I can't see through your eyes because mine are filled with hate. And him singing it, and literally, no singing it, whispering it gently to you, like a lullaby to get you to go to sleep, is horrifying. Fucking horrific. He's like he's singing it to a choir in church, like spreading the Lord's great work, and know this vile fucking track, and the whole thing's like that. They describe themselves, or they've been described as like horror pop or fucking nightmare ballads, or they best describe themselves as David Bowie in hell. And what can I say? I just fucking love that band. The only thing that stops the last 2 records being my album of the year both times is they do like to go on forever. The record's like an hour plus, and I do feel like you shave 15 minutes off the records where there's a wee bit of filler. One of the couple of songs that are not as strong as the rest of it. You've got 2 album of the year on year for a band like Crippling Alcoholism, and I wish them nothing but success for what they go on and do. I don't want to, honestly, I'm not that type of guy. I don't hold it. I'll just, my whole thing about crippling alcoholism is like, I wanted to shout about them and then see them at my event, and then people will lose their minds at my event for them to be like, yes, and then go on that journey with them, so to speak, rather than how it panned out, which I felt like left a lot of people high and dry. But then again, that has fuck all to do with how good Cam Girl was. Cam Girl was an exceptional record, and you should go and get it in your ears right now.
Well done for being the bigger man there, mate. Impressed. My number 3 is The Father of Make Believe by Coheed and Cambria. So this album came out in March, right? And it was my album of the year for months and months and months. And I couldn't see it getting toppled. It's just so full of perfect pop rock songs. So there's like 2 types of Coheed, I think. There's like the proggy Coheed where they're really over the top and like quite grand and still fucking huge tunes, but I really like their album In Keeping Secrets of Silent Earth. And this is not that Coheed. This is just fucking concise fucking songs. They're not remotely cool. They couldn't give a fuck. I couldn't give a fuck either. They just sound like they're having so much fun. It like rubs off on me as a listener. I'm like pumping my fist like I'm in a crowd down the front in the 1980s. Extra points for guitar solos. It's just so fucking fun. And like, I don't know if we've talked about this or not, but it's a weird journey I've been on. Like I was really into them. And then in around 2006, I just stopped listening. And I don't know what I did. And then I kind of came back in, like last couple of albums. And I'm like, oh, fuck. They're still, as bands go on throughout their career, a lot of them tail off in quality. And I feel like they really haven't. They really have not tailed off in quality. And I don't know about their mid-period because I didn't listen, but they're back on it. The last 2 albums are great. And this, I fucking love this. I love the songwriting. It's brilliant. It's quite varied. And importantly, when you're doing this genre, it's got 3 or 4 actual proper songs where you're like, oh my God, this song is a fucking, like the song Searching for Tomorrow is the song of the year. It's just fucking unbelievable. And I just, like I said, totally unlike last year where I'm just stroking my beard in a dark room looking sad. I'm in my kitchen fucking pumping the air with a big smile on my face this year. And Coheed are one of the bands, along with the Dirty Nil, who've just dragged me through that. It's just fun and great.
And at this point, I think I could confidently predict your final. I won't, but I could confidently.
Well, I know your 2.
Your final. And I know the order. No, I don't know the order of your final. I know who your final 2 are, but I don't know the order of them.
I didn't think you'd know one of mine. I'm too predictable, but yours is fucking obvious. In fact, you're about to choose between your 2 children, so go ahead.
The first one, we are going to go with Dim Skewer and Dust Eater. Now, I'd mentioned earlier about the when you first hear something. I mean, there's so many records, good records even, your favourite bands even, that you hear them the first time and you're just not distracted, but you're in the mix of stuff. And something's just so fucking potent about hearing this the first time. That horrible drive back for Edinburgh, off wherever I dropped my daughter off for horse riding, listening to Turnstile record and being a wee bit embarrassed by it that I was listening in front of my daughter because she was like, this is the worst thing you've ever put on in the car, and I agreed. And I was like, oh, and it just, that recommendation coming through on the WhatsApp chat at that time, and we were like, oh fuck, I'm going to give this a bash. And for it just, I was sitting in the traffic lights as that first sort of Amon Ra-esque riff, and you keep it a bit like, okay, well, a lot of bands try to sound like Amon Ra and don't really get it, but they didn't fuck about with it. It went straight quite quickly to the pained fucking vocals, and I was like, well, what's happening here? And then there's a lovely sort of almost religious background to Dim Skewer's sound that I don't know what that is. Like, it almost sounds like a sample that's at the back of the music that takes it to another level away from where post-metal usually sits, especially sort of blackened vocal post-metal. And fuck me, as of last night I checked on 15,000 monthly Spotify listeners. I mean, more Spotify listeners than a lot of the bands we booked for Damnation, not quite up a lot of the slots. I mean,
15, fucking
15,000.
That's amazing.
And it's like, I don't get that afterwards. I mean, because another one of these ones where you are. Who was I talking to about this last night? I was talking about this last night, and it was like, well, Overhead Albatross. I was talking to that Asian about it last night. He says when you hear a band, the first thing a promoter ever does is panics. Where the fuck are this band from? Because it's gonna be Japan or Australia or fucking somewhere in the States, and it's going to be an absolute nightmare and cost $8,000 to even think about them playing, and no one knows who they are. And they're a bit like, where Overhead Albatross like, fuck, it's Dublin. It's right there. We can make us happen. And the exact same thing with Dimskure. It's right there. Berkshire, even though it's an E. Berkshire. So bizarre. Anyway, that's another discussion. And I was like, come on. What is happening here? But it was like 212 plays in Spotify or something like this is too good for the people not to know. And obviously came on here. Really never knew what sort of platform this podcast was. I mean, Dimskure's been an example of, fuck me, just how invested the listenership this podcast is. They've gone to where they've gone. That obviously the podcast then allowing them a door open to Art Tangent, the show they put on Art Tangent, and then a band dropping out with crippling alcoholism as it happens, that Dimskure come out of damnation, and then they've just taken the bull by the horns. And it's one of those ones, if the music's shit, it makes no difference if I come on here every single Thursday and tell you it's great. You're not going to be convinced, you're never going to listen to me again. The reason that they have got the reaction they've got is because it's as good as it is, and the album is utterly incredible. I mean, it's only 4 tracks. I mean, I think it's supposed to be described as an EP, but once you're over the 30-minute mark, get a fucking album, whether you want to be or not. And dug a little bit deeper with it, because the lyrics were like there was something so emotionally heavy about them, but I didn't know why. It was like, why did you leave us? We need you here. And there's the vocal pitch that really catches you when you're a few minutes into the first hour, like almost 5 minutes into the first, is it becomes like it's a howl. And not like a ghost bath, almost like you're trying to have a joke about. It's like an animal caught in a hunter's trap howl. And it's a screech that goes with the music. You're like, holy fuck, the intensity in that. What's that from? And then, unfortunately or tragically, you hear that the guitarist Adam, who also produced this record, lost his daughter, and a lot of the content's about that. And then you're like, fuck, there's another whole new level. This isn't just about being angry at the world. This is like every fucking parent's absolute worst nightmare, and just unable to comprehend it on record on this laden, emotionally fucking heavyweight record, these 4 tracks, and that makes the whole new level. This would have probably been my number 2 regardless, but now having the chance to meet the guys and see them perform live at Art Tangent, see them perform live at Damnation, the link to this podcast, but having the ability to get them on that tour for next year, all that's just added the layers of enjoyment of what would have always been an incredible record, whether they'd been 4 guys from Australia who we never had the chance to get across the UK or ever play in these. I just thought that it was a fucking incredible record. The emotional weight of it's impossible to ignore, and it's impossible not to feel it. It is my number 2 for 2025.
That's a great story. I think the Dimskure Gav story. My number 2 is Bring Mirrors to the Surface by Zatakrev. Very close to being my album of the year. I changed my mind at the last minute. Like, this excites me, and the reason it excites me, even though they're not a new band, they're so underground. It feels like an underground discovery that the ATG crowd will eventually go mad for, in the same way that they have for Psychonaut. And again, it's another brilliant band from the Pelagic roster. I really would point people in the direction of Pelagic Records, because fucking so many great bands coming out of there. So genre-wise, we did have, you and I did have some disagreement about whether or not this was post-metal when I first talked about it. It skirts around sort of all the best genres. It's got tons of doom, shitloads of post-metal, big dollop of hardcore, and some black metal as well. Sometimes it's fast, sometimes it's slow, sometimes it's heavy, sometimes it's melodic. It's got tons of subtle hooks. It goes to loads of fucking places. And the reason I call it post-metal is because it's a catch-all term for something that's heavy and left field. And actually, the only band that I can name you that could do something this eclectic and this brilliant is Neurosis, which is the biggest compliment you can pay to a band, right? Because Neurosis, unlike some bands like Armin Ra do a thing, mostly. A couple of things, but it sounds like Armin Ra. Bands like Neurosis much more eclectic than that, and Zatakrev is that. It's doing loads of different things that hang together perfectly as like one album. So the album's fucking incredible. Every second of it is perfect. I really think that the production is immaculate. Stick your fucking headphones on, turn it up loud as you can. It sounds incredible. So I would desperately want people to latch onto this band like they've latched onto Dim Skewer. I just think they're great. This is my final sales pitch, right? The only band capable of nailing something this eclectic is Neurosis. That's how good this is. It's the best post-metal band, the best post-metal album by a band since 2020 when Psychonaut released Unfold the Godman. And in the last 5 years, the only post-metal albums that could touch this would be maybe The Ocean and Cult of Luna. It's fucking that high, right up there, absolute world beater. I can't get enough of it. Please listen to it. Go and see a Mark Tangent this year, and let's give the band the listeners they deserve.
Okay. And I did enjoy, I have to say, that the post-metal, but I would have a disagreement on that. I did feel like there was far too many genres in the mix for to have a real genuine post-metal feel about it, but I enjoyed what I heard, and it's one of those ones where I need to give your top 10 a listen to see what the hell you're going on about. So we will do that again, because that was an album I did enjoy, although didn't go back to as often as I might have should have. Which now I know what your number one's going to be. So now, the number one, how could it be anything else? We Lost the Sea, A Single Flower. Now, Kelly asked me earlier when I talked about this podcast, will people think that you're doing that and putting them at number one because you're friends with the band? And it was so like the reason is that's backwards. I'm friends with the band because I don't want to be careless about it, but because they're that good. Like, if it wasn't for Departure Songs being what I thought it was before I'd spoken to anyone in the band, I would never have reached out. I would never have got to know them. So the band being exceptional at what they do is how we became friends, and then there's the albums to go along with it. So it's not, I am friends with the band because they're brilliant. I'm not putting them at a place like this because I am friends with them. So no, that is not the answer. It's not done. I would have been as honest as I always am about where this would have been, and if this was Triumph and Disaster, I don't know. I mean, it might still have, because it's such a great album anyway, but it might not have beat the Dust Eater. Now, A Single Flower is incredible. In fact, the best track on it is the opening track, If They Had Hearts, and it really catches at that point because everything else, nothing else in the record quite lives up to how good If They Had Hearts is, but it's got a standard to it that it keeps right to that last note of Blood Will Have Blood. And the first three tracks, If They Had Hearts, Dance for the Dead, and Everything Here Is Black and Blinding, and what an opening hat trick. I mean, they follow that similar post-rock, build up, have the patience, get your payoff, but each done individually so well. And then somewhere in the middle of the record, they decide, well, we're just going to take a wee change of pace here. And it's not like Bloom represents any sort of progression for them, but it was certainly a tempo change for the first three tracks. And then it's a wee bit more mature and measured. And it takes you in quite a pleasant journey without the need for the post-rock template. And then into Gloaming, which is a sort of classical piano strings interlude before the main dessert, a fucking main dinner, dessert, coffee, and then an extra course of pudding is served up on top. Which is Blood Will Have Blood. 27 minutes here. Post-rock story in 2 chapters. I have no idea why it's 27 minutes, other than the fact that they can do what they want, because it's definitely 2 different songs. There's this euphoric build-up at the start, which, when I heard that the first time, I text Mark and I said, this sounds like, there's a section that sounds like The Stinging Bell by Biffy Clyro, and it's just so fucking anthemic and euphoric, and it doesn't sound like anything that We Lost the Sea have ever done before. And it's just got such a big, catchy, let's have a party and everything might be all right. But We Lost the Sea don't believe that everything's going to be all right. It's going to end tragically. And the second part of that 27-minute opus is where you go back to building up to this sort of monolithic fucking payoff at the end, which is why they stick with that song even live when it takes up 30 minutes of their set. It's incredible. A tsunami of riffs by the end. When they're up on stage doing it live, they pull it off as well. What an incredible band. I am so delighted that people are finally starting to switch on to how good they are and like the draw that they have in the UK. I hope to be at all 5 of those dates in the UK. I want to go to Dunk and see them doing Departure songs and the Single Flower in full over there. Let's see how much I can squeeze out of 2026. But that is my album of the year by the best active post-rock band in the world, We Lost the Sea.
Brilliant. Lovely. My number 13, which is incredibly high for a post-rock album for me. It's a brilliant, brilliant album. My number 1, well, I thought it's a surprise to me, so I'm assuming it'll be a surprise to some, that my number 1 album is Futique by Biffy Clyro. If I'm honest, I wanted to choose something cool and underground, right, to be my number 1 album. I'm not, my hard-fought brand does not need Biffy Clyro as my number 1. It needs Zattercrev. But at the end of the day, this album is just fucking irresistible. I honestly don't know what's happened to me, but much like Coheed, this is another album of perfect pop songs. It's another band that sort of have a different style in their past, and this is not it. And that different style in their past is the style I'm quite happy with, and I want them to do. I want riffy, wonky, Biffy Clyro, but I just can't stop listening to this album. Every fucking song is a banger, and they gnaw into your head. It's not that there's no old Biffy. It's got loads of hints of the past and the interesting sort of song structures they have in there. And the musicianship is super brilliant on this album. The musicianship is fucking incredible on this album. But it is an album of songs. It's an album of pop songs and love songs. And I think I've said this before, but people think I'm a massive Biffy fan, and that is not actually true, right? This is the first time that Biffy Clyro has ever been my number 1 album of the year. Like, I was really into them on their first 3 records, and I went to see them in 2005 at the Astoria in London, and I loved it, but they weren't my favourite band. My connection to Biffy is because I'm always going on about them for 2000 Trees, and that's why people think I like them more than I do. So this is not me being like, I'm going to force Biffy Clyro in. I don't want fucking Biffy Clyro anywhere near my top 10. They're too big a band. They're the people's band, aren't they? It's not, I don't need Biffy in my top 10, but the album's fucking brilliant. So, look, I think a lot of the reviews got this album wrong. I think it's had a mix of reviews. Some people sort of totally missed the point and didn't get how good it was. Because when you first listen to it, the kind of production of it is like, oh wow, this really is a pop rock album. But mate, there's just, the songs are just so good. Every song is so good. I challenge anyone, listen to this album 3 times and tell me that half the songs aren't already in your head. I take my list incredibly seriously, and it's the best album of the year, in my opinion. So okay. There you fucking go.
Good, mate. Listen, I stand by, because I tell you what, it's more difficult to stick up Biffy Clyro there, as you say, than fucking your Mars Volta or something that's going to make it be more on brand for James Scarlett. So, mate, have at it. That's your list. Excellent list. Well put together, mate. I am. And you can see you're tortured by what goes 4 and 5, and you're just like, how can this possibly be 4? It can be 5.
But the thing I want the most is for people to go and listen to these albums now. If you don't know some of them, go and check out some new music, because there's a lot in there. And the one that you brought up that I really want to go and listen to properly is Brew It, because I haven't got in on that properly at all.
Yeah. Yeah, and man, no one needs to ask you to be patient with music, but I keep in mind that they don't like their payoff at the end of the tracks. They like their payoffs at the end of the albums. You know what I mean? So sometimes you're like 4 tracks, and you're like, come on, guys, give me something here. So, but you will enjoy it. It's just it's so different. It's so different. So, brilliant list. What a pleasure chatting to you about. If you want to support those albums, you can go obviously to Spotify and just listen to them. Everybody except Brute. But ISO merch is a place where you can go and buy a lot of these records, including the Pelagic ones. ISO merch have a tie-in. They've got a web store for Pelagic records. They'll distribute for Pelagic records and VLAPS records. A lot of these albums here will be available CD, cassette, vinyl on ISO merch. I had a quick look last night just to see what they'd restocked back in. They have Rival Sons, Bolt Thrower, Eric Clapton, Wormrot. They've got a pre-order for the new Sleaford Mods record, the Neon Green. They've got a variant coming out for Electric Wizards, Classic Dope Throne, and Cherry Red, both of them in pre-order. They've got a web store set up for Radiohead, Sleep Token, Slayer, and aforementioned Pelagic Records, Relapse Records. Everything's on it. Absolutely everything, and every time I look, they are getting a new tie-in and a new collab with someone else. I hope that they can get to like your Evil Greed and Death Wish and Holy Mountains from Europe and America, and get even more tie-ins with our merch collabs, and we can get our hands on them. Because for us trying to buy a t-shirt for one of your favourite bands, I mean, let's say Crippling Alcoholism t-shirt was in Holy Mountain and it's in America. It can be the shipping can be more than the actual t-shirt. It is really fucking off-putting. It's definitely, even for Europe, it's an absolute pain in the arse trying to get new merch over for anywhere that's not here already. So ISO merch is a place really try to solve that problem and build those bridges. So long may it continue. I'm sure 2026 is going to be a great year for Ali and the rest of the team. I hope the support that they showed all those festivals, including ours, in 2025 paid off for them, and they are back in business and expanding again for 2026. Been a real pleasure having them involved in the pod. Long may that continue. At checkout, Pod 10, ISO merch, Pod 10. Go and get yourself the vinyl you want, t-shirts you want. I am going to grab myself a few Radiohead. I don't need new merch in a minute, but the Radiohead t-shirts for $19.99 with 10% off is just a bit too good to miss. So go there, support them because they support us. Who also supported us? The Patreon. Right, so it's 2026. Maybe your New Year's resolution is we're going to support a podcast. Make it this one. There was a weird thing that happened over the Christmas and New Year. A few people cancelled their Patreons, and that may be because Christmas and New Year's tough time for people, don't have the money, or it may be because they never get their podcast out on a Thursday and it just reminds them, oh, well, I'm not paying for it. But it was still odd to see, and I didn't film with festive cheer that people were cancelling their support over the Christmas period. If you would like to support us, if somebody got in touch, sorry I've not had a chance to reply properly. If you pay £5 on the Patreon, I think they take an extra quid on top and it comes like £6, and then we see £4 of it. That's great. Like, that's the way it's set up, and we knew that going into it. There are people that just pay straight into the business account to promote one pod. And if you want to pay £5, we get all £5. You want to pay the £6, we get all £6, and there's no middleman. If you want to do that, the best place to get that sorted is through the group, or message me on Instagram and we can do it. If not, Patreon, Ko-fi, everyone from all these places are all still in the Jug of Joy. I understand if you've been there for 5 months, you feel like, why is my name going? There's a few hundred people in it. It's only been 50 or 60 episodes when we'll be doing this, so your odds, although okay, are not. There's no you're going to be taken out, and there is new names getting added to it quite regularly. So, I mean, apologies. You've not been more lucky, I suppose, is what I'm trying to say. But your day will come, I'm sure, as long as this continues, and hopefully supporting the pod is because you want to support it and not just because you want to get a free Art Tangent ticket out of James. So, yes, the person who was picked out the last day before Christmas was Cat Finch. Cat Finch said that her and her lovely husband Tim would like to watch a band side stage from Damnation. Happy to facilitate that for you, Cat and Tim, two lovely people who have always supported Damnation through Razor's Edge, the website that they are part of. They watch most of the bands from the photo pit as is, so the two of them can come up stage and see a band of their choosing, if that's okay with the band in question. And I really should have the jar of joy over me, shouldn't I? The first name for 2026 is going to be Daniel Abela, Abela, Daniel Abela. So, congratulations, Daniel. Let's know what you would like from the Jug of Joy. And yes, if you support the pod, it makes a big difference to us. That whole going out tour, I mean, shows like Brighton and Cardiff, they cost money to go and do. It's great to be able to go out there, no worry about hotels and transport, or whether we can afford Shifty, or whether we can afford Tom Begler, or whether we can afford a nicer van. These things are fucking great. The merch that we had, that will be available very, very soon. The hoods and the t-shirts, please go on and snap them up. They are fucking the best of quality. Earth Positive printed on. The hoods are fantastic quality. Anyone that got one of the Damnation ones will already know how that feels. And it's a big help for us because we need to cover the cost for the merch for quite small shows that we've done in the likes of Brighton and Cardiff. Anything you'd like to add to that, James?
No, that all sounds great. We do appreciate people's support. So we do a quick on the record because we can. I'm going to go off that Biffy Clyro album, so I'm going to include the song True Believer. Did I mention the album was full of bangers? I think I did. This is a fucking absolute massive banger. Actually, my mum accidentally bought 2 copies of this album for me for Christmas. So she has offered to post one to you, Gav, if you would like a copy of the new Biffy Clyro album on vinyl. Would you like that?
I would love a copy of the new Biffy Clyro album on vinyl, Joe. How generous of you.
Lovely. So the song is True Believer by Biffy Clyro.
Okay, and I will go with Blood Will Have Blood by We Lost to Sea from my #1 album of last year. As I said, 27 fucking minutes. I explained what it was all about. Go and have at it.
Fucking happy days, mate. That was good. I enjoyed that. I love the fact that when we got to the last 2, we both knew the other one's final 2, which I think shows that we've done 100 episodes of chatting shit to each other.
And also somehow managed to speak. I genuinely thought that Conjurer or Deaf Heaven, maybe even Deftones, might be in all 3. But it sounds like I went for the I went for the well, I was going to say the popular's choice because it's like that's the ones that our fan base, but you definitely went with the more popular records, just not so much to people listening to 2 Promoters 1 Pod. But I feel like that Deaf Heaven, Deftones and Conjurer might have overlapped. So there you go, 2 years in a row where both our top 10s never overlap by 1 record. Madness.
Next time, mate. Next time. Well, we'll talk next week about what 2026 holds, and maybe we'll both decide that we're super excited about the new Megadeth album.
I doubt it. But listen, and everyone from the groups, from the pages, get involved. It's a new year. Let us get new questions up. Let us know what your thoughts are on the podcast, what you want to see next. We have no plans yet. There is fuck all planned. We don't know what we're going to do next in tour. Don't really know what we'll do in the next bunch of episodes, but there's plenty to do. So you get involved. You're part of it. The third part of this is you guys and your input. So let us know what you are, and we will see you next week.
See you then, mate.